guys, welcome to my channel. It is Christian here. Thank you so much for joining me today. So today I'm super excited because I picked up a new item that has just released on the market, and it is the Becca X Chrissy Teigen face palette. I do have it on my face today. I am wearing the blush, the bronzer, and the highlighter out of this particular palette today. And I was just really excited to bring you guys my first opinion, my first thoughts on this palette. So yeah, you guys, I really hope that you were interested in this video. If this palette was on your radar, hopefully this particular video will help you decide if it's something worth picking up or not. I will be comparing this particular palette to the Jaclyn Hill palette, face palette, just to see if they're similar, different. Do you need one? Do you need both? If you missed out on this one, will this one kind of get the job done for you? So yeah, you guys, I am really excited about this video. I hope that you guys are too. If you are new to my channel, welcome. Thank you for joining. If you don't mind, go ahead and hit the subscribe button down below. I do have a giveaway going on my channel right now. It is for my 10,000 subscribers. So if you guys are interested in winning that, then all of that information will be down below. If you are not new to my channel, you guys, welcome back. Thank you for continuing to join and support. And yeah, you guys, let's go ahead and get into the comparing, the swatching, and all of that good stuff. I'm gonna go ahead and show you all of the different swatches. So we are gonna start with the Shimmering Skin Perfector in Rose Gold. All right, guys, so this is the shade Rose Gold right here. And Rose Gold is described as a subtle gold with a rose shift. And then the other highlighter in the palette is Beach Nectar, which is this guy right here. And the top one is Beach Nectar. Beach Nectar is described as a juicy apricot with a gold shift. And they do look similar when they're swatched, but you can definitely see that one of them has a little bit more of a pinky shift to it, you guys. And one of them is a little bit more golden. Then we have the blush. And this is considered one of their luminous blushes. It is in the shade Hibiscus Bloom. And that is his Hibiscus Bloom swatched right there. And Hibiscus Bloom is described as a golden pink coral. And then lastly, we have the bronzer. The bronzer is the Sunlit Bronzer in Malibu Soleil, and it is described as a medium amber. Gorgeous powder products, you guys. Now let's go ahead and get into the application of the products and comparing it to the Jaclyn Hill palette. All right, guys, just keep on watching. I currently do not have on any bronzer, blush, or highlighter because we are going to be trying this out for the first time today. This did retail for 46 bucks. I did pick mine up from Ulta, but it is also sold at Sephora. I checked on Sephora's website and Ulta's website before I started filming this video. It is currently out of stock on Sephora, and I did not see it on Ulta's website, but I did pick mine up in store at Ulta probably about 4 or 5 days ago. And today we are also going to be comparing it to the Jaclyn Hill face palette. So we're going to check and see if you have the Jaclyn Hill face palette, do you necessarily need to pick up the Chrissy Teigen palette? How similar are they? How different are they? The Jaclyn Hill palette, of course, was limited edition and you can't get this guy anymore. And this is brand new to the market. So we're just going to do some comparisons. We're going to apply this on my face first. We're going to do some swatches, and we're just going to see how this palette looks on the skin. And this is what the packaging looks like. It is absolutely beautiful. And when you look on the back, it has all of the names of the products. And when you open it up, this is what it looks like. So you get 2 highlighters, a blush, and a bronzer. I think that the only thing in this palette that is not new is the Rose Gold highlighter. You guys can correct me if I'm wrong. I do believe everything else in this palette is new. So what I'm going to do really quickly before we apply this to our cheeks, we are going to pull out the Becca and Jaclyn Hill face palette just so we can kind of compare. So that way, if you guys, again, do own this guy, maybe you can skip the Chrissy Teigen one. So let's find out. And so of course, one distinct difference between the Becca one and between the Chrissy Teigen and the Jaclyn Hill. The Jaclyn Hill does not have a bronzer, and it also has an extra blush. So that is one difference between them. Jaclyn Hill has 3 blushes, and Prosecco Pop and Champagne Pop. So let's go ahead and swatch the Jaclyn Hill palette. Just for reference, this is Champagne Pop and Prosecco Pop swatched right here. Let's swatch the Chrissy Teigen highlighters next to those. So there are the Chrissy Teigen highlighters swatched right next to the Jaclyn Hill ones. You can see that the Chrissy Teigen ones definitely are a little bit deeper in skin tone. They definitely have more of a peachy vibe to them, so they are very, very different. So let's go ahead and swatch the blushes next to each other. Only the 2 blushes that look like they could be kind of similar is the Hibiscus Bloom and Papa Mousse. So this is the Jaclyn Hill palette, and this is the Chrissy Teigen. So let's swatch those two. So this is the Jaclyn Hill blush in Pamplemousse. And then this is the Chrissy Teigen blush in this shade Hibiscus Bloom. So they are definitely in the same color family. Jaclyn Hill Pamplemousse blush is a little bit deeper, but other than that, they are definitely in the same color family. Depending on how much you apply, you can probably get a really similar look out of those two products. Now let's just go ahead and swatch the other two Jaclyn Hill blushes in comparison to the Chrissy Teigen. They're not similar at all, but just for reference, we'll go ahead and do it. So those are the other two blushes in the Jaclyn Hill palette. And let's go ahead and swatch Hibiscus Bloom again. So this is Hibiscus Bloom, and these are the other two blushes in the Jaclyn Hill palette. So if you do have the Jaclyn Hill palette and you do want to pick up the Chrissy Teigen palette, they are different enough to where you do not have to worry about repeating any colors whatsoever. So I definitely say that if you have one, you could potentially benefit from the other, because Becca does have some beautiful formulations when it comes to blushes and highlighters. And I've never tried a Becca bronzer. I actually just ordered one of their bronzers online, so that should be here in the next day or two. So now we're gonna go ahead and apply this to the cheeks. And let me kind of scoot in a bit. So we're gonna start with highlighter. I'm gonna take the Anastasia A23 that I just recently hauled, but I have been using a little bit. And we're gonna try the Rose Gold highlighter. It's really pretty on the cheeks, you guys. I just think that it's not quite dark enough or light enough to kind of give me that pop of color. It's a little too dark for the tops of my cheekbones. So now what we're going to try to do is we're going to try to layer it up. We're going to take the other highlighter in the palette. Gonna run a little bit down the center of my nose. Cupid's bow. Yeah, it's definitely too dark. That was Control-Alt-Delete, please. Control-Alt-Delete. Okay. So, I mean, it's really pretty. It's just a little too dark. So, I'm probably gonna have to go over it with a lighter highlighter, and just to kind of brighten it back up. And then once I apply the bronzer and blush, we'll see if we can make it work a little bit better. Now I'm going to take my favorite bronzer brush at the moment, and we're going to dip it into the bronzing shade. We're not contouring, we're just bronzing up the skin. This blush, it's a little too warm, and it's a little bit too warm to use as a contour. Yeah, it's definitely on the warmer side. I typically like my bronzers to be a little bit on the cooler side than the warmer side, just because things tend to pull so orange and red on me, and it just looks weird if the bronzers are too warm. Still very pretty powder, which, I mean, I wasn't really concerned about them not being blendable or not being easy to work with, because Becca has some really beautiful powders. Now that I have the bronzer on a little bit, I do feel like the highlighter is blending into my skin a little bit better. And then what I'm going to do, just to give me a little bit more of an all over bronze, I'm going to take a little more of a larger brush. This is a Sephora Precision Powder Brush number 59. And then I'm just going to bronze up a little bit in a wider area, basically. Go ahead and we're going to try the blush next. I'm going to go ahead and take that on my favorite blush brush of the moment, and that is the Eco Tools Sheer Blush Brush. And we're going to pick up a little bit of Hibiscus Bloom. It's a very pigmented shade, so I'm going to tap off the excess. And then I'm just going to kind of give it a quick little, I'm going to smile a little bit. Okay, that definitely doesn't apply as strong on the cheeks once you kind of... That's pretty. That's really pretty. So now I'm just going to take my beauty blender and kind of tone all of that down a little bit. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to try this as we're just gonna highlight today, guys. So and try this as an inner corner highlight as well. Probably gonna be a little bit too dark for an inner corner highlight, but we're gonna try it out anyway. So I think I'm gonna take this highlighter and we're gonna try to go on the inner corner and the brow bone. It's really pretty. And then we're gonna take a little bit on the brow bone. Yeah, it's a little too dark for my brow bone as well. That's okay. They are really pretty, really high shine, really gorgeous powder products. All right, you guys, so I think that this is a really, really nice highlighter palette. My only complaint is, or my only concern that is if you are any lighter than me, this 100% will not work for you. The highlighter shades almost don't work for me, you guys, if I'm being completely honest. They are a little bit on the darker side for me. I did have to go ahead and put a little tiny bit of Opal, Becca's Opal, just to kind of brighten things up and make it look a little more highlighted. But they are absolutely beautiful. I had no doubt in my mind that these weren't going to be absolutely gorgeously beautiful highlighting, bronzing, and blush shades. I had no doubt about it. The bronzer I was a little bit concerned with because it looks like in the pan that it definitely has some shimmer, and of course I prefer my bronzers to be a little bit matte, but it doesn't look shimmery on the skin whatsoever. It looks really pretty. It just warmed up the skin. It's a little bit warmer than I like, but once applied to the skin it doesn't come off overly warm. The blush looks like it's gonna be a bit, you know, intimidating, especially if you typically like more nudie blushes like I do. But I think that this is absolutely a really, really pretty blush as well. So I definitely think that this is a really, really nice palette. I think it is worth the money if it was on your radar. The packaging itself is absolutely stunning. And I think that Becca, we come to expect really great things from Becca when it comes to their blushes, their highlighters, and I guess now their bronzers. I can't wait to get the full-size pans and see if those work the same way. I will also throw in here, just like the Jaclyn Hill palette, the mirror on this palette is so good. Like, you could do your whole face of makeup in this mirror and everything would just be really, really nice. So it's good, it's big, it's nice for travel. If you are, like I said, if you are any lighter than me, maybe skip this. If you are tan, oh my gosh, if you are tan skin, this would look so beautiful on your skin, especially the highlighter. So I definitely recommend it for like medium to tan skin. It'd be beautiful, so beautiful. So I definitely think that if you have, like I mentioned, if you have the Jaclyn Hill palette, I feel like the Jaclyn Hill palette is a little bit more universally flattering when it comes to the shades that were picked, in my opinion. But they are different enough to where you could use both of them and get a lot of good wear out of both of these particular palettes. I feel like between these two palettes, you would probably never need another highlighter in your life, but let's be real, of course we're gonna buy more highlighters because how could we not? So yeah, you guys, I'm thoroughly impressed with this. I like it. My only complaint is I just wish maybe one of the highlighter shades had been a little bit lighter, but other than that, I give this 2 thumbs up. If it was on your radar, I think it's worth checking out. And yeah, you guys, that is pretty much it. So if you did enjoy this video, don't forget to subscribe before you head out. Don't forget to give it a thumbs up. And yeah, you guys, I will see you in the next one. Bye, guys.